Alright folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're just back, we've not done a video in quite a while, so we're just back to discuss everything Celtic. I'm joined by Alistair and Nathan to go over everything. Alistair, first and foremost, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good to hear the free zone.
I know it's already, isn't it?
Aye,
Nathan,
aye.
how are you? We've not been on the channel
Well,
for I don't know how long.
no, I'm alright, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Aye, good. So we're just going to discuss everything Celtic. We'll also discuss the SPFL's plans to maybe reconstruct the league pyramid as well. Probably have a bit of a rant and just show that their sort of touch is unbelievable. But the first bit of news is probably a really dark piece of news, and I'd be ignorant not to cover it because it is a big piece of news in terms of the club. Obviously, it's the Celtic Boys Club scandal. There's obviously been a development with the payments, and the quite rightly payments for the victims of the absolute disgusting crimes of the Celtic Boys Club. Celtic released a statement yesterday saying Celtic football can confirm that a number of legal claims in the group proceedings against the club have been resolved. We're hopeful that the settlement can be reached with the remaining group members shortly. Sometimes we've sought out to work with the group members, lawyers to reach a resolution. The club acknowledges the strength of the survivors of the abuse who have came forward and hope that the resolution may help bring them some closure. Celtic Football Club is appalled by any form of historic abuse and has great sympathy for those who have suffered abuse and for their families. The club is very sorry that these events took place at Celtic Boys Club. The club takes abuse extremely seriously because of historic contacts between the two organisations. The abuse of young people is an abhorrent crime which has unfortunately affected many areas of society. The club continues to work with Scottish football to make it a safe place for all young people. I just want to first and foremost say I agree with everything in that statement. It's a disgusting crime that was committed back then by the Celtic Boys Club. Alistair, it's disgusting what happened obviously years back, but obviously it's good to see them get some sort of deserved closure and deserved justice.
It's long overdue, Josh. And I know you have to be kind of careful and discreet and discussing this, but as I say, at the end of the day, it's long overdue, and my heart goes out to everyone, and to be honest with you, I can only imagine what they went through.
Aye. No, Nathan, the people who committed those crimes, obviously, well before our time, they're absolutely scumbags of the highest order, and I will call them that.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, mate, this is completely bigger than football, and to have Celtic's name associated with something like this is completely embarrassing. It's against everything as a club that we stand for, even if it's past Celtic or present Celtic, it doesn't matter. It's still Celtic, and it's still embarrassing. I think the club's done the right thing with the statement. I think the victims should get the highest payout possible because, I mean, just put this into human context. We've both got siblings and things like that. You look at the case and young boys, young girls, whatever. It's just in society as a whole, it's just not acceptable. Never has been, never will be.
No, I don't know if you could tell my voice. It was even difficult to read that statement out, to be honest, because I don't for crimes like that. It's fucking disgusting. It's
vile behaviour.
It's vile. It's absolutely disgusting. You made a good point there. This is bigger than football. This is life. It's crime. It's people's life. It doesn't matter who the hell you support. That shouldn't be going on anywhere in the world. Football anywhere. There's no room for sexual crimes of that nature. And as you say,
in general, to be honest, mate.
Exactly. And as you say, then Alistair, obviously you need to be careful, but I wasn't just going to sit here and act blind to it because it's been in the news. It's been in the news.
Aye. And I'm only I'm ashamed to say it's associated with our club, and our club is is normally present and past directors should have dealt with this a damn sight sooner.
Mhm.
And that's all you can really say on it, because we weren't there. All we can say is what you've said already. So, and
Aye,
I echo everything you said there.
aye, and
What I would
I-
say as well, though, is it goes for everybody at Celtic Football Club who has ever been at Celtic Football Club. Your actions represent the whole club, and whatever you do is, it's with the name of Celtic. If you work for Celtic, this the name of the club and everything it stands for is going to get brought into it. So for these acts to even be committed with one person at Celtic Football Club is a shame to the whole club.
aye, no, definitely well said. Obviously, the victims will get some closure, and it's, as you said, long overdue closure. I don't think they'll ever get full justice, the full justice that they so deserve. But at least they are getting some justice. It's not enough, but hopefully it will give their families and them themselves some closure at least. And obviously, my thoughts and everything go out to them, because it is a tough subject to sit and cover, because I don't know the ins and outs of it, if I'm being honest with you. But even you don't need to know the ins and outs. It's just on the face of it, it's fucking shameful that stuff like that.
Definitely, mate.
Aye,
Definitely.
for stuff like that to go on in our society, it is absolutely shameful. And my thoughts go to their family and the victims, and hope they get even more justice, because they deserve it.
It's a bit closure in it.
Aye, it's a closure. But as I said, it's long overdue that they get some justice or some closure. As Alistair said, this should have been sorted. I would even say years ago, decades ago.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to sit and talk about, to be honest, because it's just a horrendous subject, and as you said, it's horrendous that not even just Celtic, that any club in world football would be associated with that, and that's just not acceptable. But as I said, my thoughts and prayers go to the families and the victims. But I just felt I had to say something about that, because I'm not just going to sit here and act oblivious to it. Because I
No,
don't think it's acceptable to sit and act oblivious to it. It's clearly something that's going out. It's clearly something that affects the club. And obviously, I try on this channel to talk as much about the football, but you need to sometimes when something big like that comes along, you need to talk about it.
You can't hide it.
Aye, exactly. Obviously, it's a dark door in Celtic Football Club. And I don't think, and as I said, I don't think just because it is, as I said, the victims should get as much justice as they can possibly get, and I think just those payments just give them a bit of closure. But as I said, my thoughts and prayers and good to the family and the victims and stuff like that of absolutely abhorrent crimes that should be never ever happening in Scotland, in the world, anywhere among just the world, because it's disgusting. But Alistair, moving on to the football. I know it's quite difficult to move on to football after talking about that. But I do want to keep it to the football. We've not discussed the Hearts game at the weekend. First and foremost, what did you make it?
I thought it was. I thought after the shaky start, I thought it was come to one off. I was quite happy for a nice routine one in the end, and finally me and you both got a score right, which was nice.
See, I don't keep up with this stuff. You seem to just you've got a computer in the back of that brain, because I don't really keep up with that sort of stuff. But maybe I did.
We did.
Aye,
So,
Nathan, what about you? How did you make it?
I thought that I thought that, Vickers looked a bit dodgy and sort of unsettled the last few games. I thought against the start where he was giving away a lot of stupid free kicks, but see, to be honest, it was a routine win. We got the win, that's the main thing at this point of the season, that's what it's about.
I think Vickers was up against, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but he was up against their big centre forward.
Is that the guy from Belgium?
Aye, so he was up against him quite a lot, and he was kind of giving him the fouls. I thought when he kind of get used to him, I thought he was fine. Kind of first 20 minutes, as Alistair said, was a bit ragged, I think, but then we kind of get used to it. And then I think we played with, it was pace in our play as well. I think the problem is where our play was recently. There's just been a complete lack of pace and just sharpness in our play, Nathan. And I thought that was back spells on Saturday against Hearts. I thought the goals that we scored were pretty decent as well.
I mean, I do think that after the Rangers result and things like that fans are going to probably get their back up a bit more because we are still self-consciously annoyed at it and things like that. And, winning against Hearts and, teams like this isn't going to make us feel better for, what happened. But the team just needs to move on. But I do think that there needs to be a new approach or, a tactic change come summer or something. In general, I think the team lacks a bit going forward sometimes with the penetrating pass. Aye, but can't complain. You actually can't. The season's been outstanding for Celtic.
Aye, Alistair, what do you think about obviously the tactics? Because Rodgers came under a lot of criticism, and I think quite rightly criticised with his approach to the last two, we could even say 3 Rangers games. Would you like to see a tactical approach? No, Brendan Rodgers, it's irrelevant if Brendan Rodgers does it or not. Would you like to see a tactical approach? And if he did, what would it be?
Well, so if I was Celtic manager in the SPFL, I would always play 2 up front and stretch teams over the back. I'd like to see a 3-5-2, but that's just me. But I don't think it's ever going to happen. No, when it comes to that, that's just a personal preference for me. But I would like Rodgers to show between now and the end of the season. I'm going to tweak it a bit, especially in the midfield, because that's where the games are won and lost. I just think we've got too many of the same type of midfielder at the moment.
Aye. No, I've said that for a while. I think we've got too similar midfield. But the big issue I've got, with how, maybe not the weekend, I thought, we looked a lot. It's just the constant 100 passes before we get to the box. And I know that looks looks brilliant and fancy at times, but sometimes you just want to see maybe 2 or 3 passes. And Nathan, I think at least, the goal that Callum McGregor slips in Maida, that's 2 passes and we're in.
Exactly, that's what's so annoying. Exactly, because when we're direct, and my dad made a good point when I was watching the game with him. If Celtic have got outstanding wingers in Jota, Kuhn, Maida, obviously Maida's been playing up front, but the ball over the top is there and it is direct, and teams struggle when our wingers are positive. The problem is our wingers aren't positive enough and we're not getting our best players on the ball. See, in the first half, although Jota scored, I actually don't think he touched the ball, and it's not Jota's fault. We're not passing the ball to Jota or to Kuhn in positions where they can attack, when they can take players on. That's the big issue. But when we actually do take players on, mate, well, a danger to not just teams in Scotland, but I'd even say teams in Europe with the wingers.
I mean, I've said it. I think you look at the 2 goals. I thought Kuhn looked a lot better during the weekend, and it was pleasing to see that. And I've said this about Nicholas Kuhn. Sometimes I just want him to go at a player, and that's what he done for the Dyson Maida's goal. He just went at him, and he just ran and you're like, he was positive in his play. But then, Alistair, we've spoken about it for a few weeks as well. We always seem to target the one win.
Yeah,
So we don't play the two.
fed
We
up.
don't,
I'm
aye,
fed up. I'm fed up saying that.
aye,
But it's almost as if, right, when we go into the huddle, here's an analogy for you. Right, lads, we'll go down the left. Right, lads, the following week we'll go down the right. We can't
aye,
mix it up. It's always one side or the other. And Mike is down the right, but I think I don't want to go forward. I think when KT and Jota are down the left, for talking sake, I think you'll see a big difference because you'll hear Johnston a winger of some sort because quite frankly I think Kuhn's for the off. So I personally think you'll have Johnson a winger and KT and Jota on the other side. And I'm hoping that helps us stretch teams out more. That's what I'm hoping long term. But
aye.
we'll have to wait and see on that. But I've always said to you, Josh, that kind of annoys me. Why do we always pick one side over the other?
Aye, I know
Kinda.
exactly. It's just one dimensional to me at times, and I think, that's been frustrating me the weekend. And it's like when you quicken it, like look at McGregor looked like back to what we'd expect for Callum McGregor, busting a gut to get through that midfield. I think at points this season we've became too used to Callum McGregor just sitting back and pinging the ball that left hand side, right hand side, back to the goalkeeper. You know, I want to see him try and kind of bust through and, kind of take out the opposition midfield. And that's what we've grown used to him doing it. But that's when I look at it and go at that. You've just shown that you can do it and you are directing your play. But then, we can place it Johnson. And I get maybe Hearts are a bit more, they'll come out a bit more. I think, well, it's St Johnson. St Johnson will sit 10 men behind the ball, and that's well within the rights to do so. But so it's probably going to be a different game. But even if a team sit 10 men behind the ball, you can still have a good bit of cutting edge and a good bit of pace to your play, Nath.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe Alistair made this point at the start, when we started talking about this, that there's too many similar midfielders. Like, this team lacks in midfield a creative player. And I think McGregor's probably the most creative player. Engels, I don't think is a creative player. I think he's box to box, quite physical. Same with Bernardo, to be fair. Hatate, I think he'll be off in the summer personally, and made a defensive midfielder. But in terms of the midfield, I actually think even though it's our best part of the team, it needs a revamp because if I look at it, McGregor's getting older. I'd like to see McGregor play a bit further forward and Celtic becoming less dependent on him. Because we've seen a couple of niggles with McGregor this season. We need a Victor Wanyama type player, in my opinion. I've always said it for.
If
You're
the
talking about
Sandy,
talking about Victor Wanyama, fuck's sake.
Aye, well, no Victor. Aye,
Oh,
well, probably
man.
not the best analogy, but aye.
I
As
genuinely, I
I
remember, see, you text me at the game because I think you left at that point, Alistair, and you just went like, Victor Wanyama's been sent off, and I was howling, man. I thought and then I seen what he gets sent off for, and I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Although, to be fair, I think we have been kind of linked with physical midfielders. So I think the club know what we need. It's just a case of getting the deal done, which always seems to be the problem with us.
Aye.
But I do think, listen, guys, Rodgers isn't going to change his system now. If he's going to tweak it, it'll be in the summer. And that, to be fair, that's when he should tweak it because let's be honest, the league's done, and quite frankly, we're the top favourites for the treble now, or we should be. So it's not down to systems whether we won the treble or not. It's down to attitude, and I don't think you spoke about the three derbies, Josh. the last 2.5 derbies, I would say, have been the players' attitude have been absolutely shocking, and I don't think that's got anything to do with the system.
Aye, no, I know. And I hope that derby game, because obviously we had all the fault after it with the water stuff and all that, and their players calling the stadium the shithole. That should light I said that at the time. That needs to light a fire in them. It does, because we need to, we done a video all day, and I said we need to kind of romp to this treble, no stumble towards it. So, but it's obviously, this team are a good team. I'm not saying that, but I just think we've had a few weeks where obviously there's not been a lot of competition in the league. European football's done, I'm not saying they're down tools, but human nature, if there's not really much competition, you're going to go at that. Well, I don't really need to try here. Doesn't make it right, but it is just human nature at the end of the day. To finish off with the Hearts game, Nathan, I'm just going to say it. How good is Dyson Maeda? Genuinely, I mean, it's the guys. I'm speechless, to be honest with you. I don't know what to say about him anymore.
Well, somebody I was speaking to the other day says to me, "It's like, oh, all Maeda can do is run and all that. He's not getting any technical quality." Listen, I would die for that man. The things he does for Celtic, they run, and we can all say he's not got technical quality, right?
Clearly
That is
has.
one load of bullshit, because he
No,
scored
no.
5
No.
goals in the He scored 5 goals in the Champions League. The goal against Rangers where he plucked it out the air. Like, if that's no technical quality, I don't know what is. And 31 goals, 30 goals, whatever he's on, just outstanding.
And a Rangers fans,
Celtic this season.
a Rangers fan said to me, "All he does is run." I'm like, well, just tell me you don't watch Dyson Maeda without telling me you don't watch Dyson Maeda. A player just can't just run. Like, and then it'd be a fucking an athletics runner.
He pull a hamstring,
Aye.
and Dyson Maeda's never, to my knowledge, has never missed a game with a pulled hamstring.
So no, but I was the guy. I mean, 30 goals, and we're not even finished the season yet. It's incredible.
He's I'm going to tell you something. Dyson Maeda is Celtic Football Club's top Champions League goal scorer ever in the Champions League format. Arsenal never get 4. So put that in perspective. I know Dyson Maeda's probably had more games in this campaign than Henrik ever got, and I'm not comparing the players, but I'm just putting the stat out there. Dyson Maeda is Celtic Football Club's top goal scorer in the Champions League.
And it made it even better that fucking moaning face booty a goalkeeper was in goal, man. Honestly, I mean, I've never hated a former Celtic player more than Craig Gordon in my life.
Why? Can I ask a question? Why is he moaning?
But he does that against every team. The Rangers fan put something up on Twitter recently, and it was like, remember Ryan Jack scored that screamer for him in the Scottish Cup final a few years back?
Yeah.
He said he was trying to claim a handball.
Yeah.
The guy's a fucking moaning face bastard. I mean, it was decent for Celtic, but I
never liked.
I dislike him like fuck, man. He just moans.
I'll be honest, he's overrated.
He's a good shot stopper, but he's terrible with the ball at his feet. I mean, he's got a mistake on him every time. But you know what? Get off him, fucking asshole. Honestly, he's a prick.
Talking about goalkeepers, Josh, before you move on, Zinazal, what did you think? I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, I thought he'd done his job really. I don't want to sound right keen, but I thought he'd done what he had to do really, and the weather was horrendous on Saturday, so it was maybe a bit different.
That corner.
Aye, he made a good save for the corner. So, as I said with Zinazal, my opinion's no changed. He's got till the end of the season to prove that he can do a decent job. He's got games to prove it, and I think he will do a decent job. I don't think he's I know people are panicking saying he's terrible. You don't know. You've not seen enough to him.
Played 2 games.
And I know that, and one thing that's put me a bit more hope into me is that he played for Exeter. He was Exeter Player of the Year last year, and he would face a lot more shots at Exeter than he will at Celtic. So the big thing for Sinisalo is going to be, like with any Celtic goalkeeper, is concentration. When that one save comes, you need to make it. You just need to obviously make sure you don't make any errors that lead to goals, obviously. But I think he done pretty well. I think I couldn't pick any faults in his performance, if I'm being honest.
Neither.
I gave you a nice segue there, John. We can go into the Schmeichel
No, the
news.
Schmeichel thing. Well, Schmeichel obviously has gone about for, was it 6 weeks? The rumour was that it was going to be out for
5-6 weeks. Aye.
Aye. But I think we thought it was going to be at least out to the end of the season anyway. I'm just glad it's not the rumours that it's going to be out to September, because I do think we're going to need them for Champions League qualifiers. But it's just something Celtic are going to deal with. Going to have to deal with. We're lucky we're not in a league title race of any sort, which is the main thing. We're not in a league title race, so we can afford to give games to Sinisalo, Alistair, and obviously just bed Schmeichel back in.
Aye, well, personally, John, I would say to Schmeichel, listen, get yourself ready for pre-season. Personally.
Aye, well, Rodgers seemed to be quite optimistic that he would even maybe be back before the end of the season. So we'll see what else happens.
It's got final, really, doesn't it?
But the one thing I wouldn't want Celtic to do is to completely rush him back. So I don't think it's long term better for us. I think if we need to just. And I think it's important that we give Sinisalo a chance as well. I think he's waited a long time for the chance. I think it's important that we give Sinisalo a chance, and obviously when Schmeichel is fit and ready to go again, then we bring him back in. But I wouldn't be rushing him back, because I don't think there's any great need. The only thing I would say is get him back for the end of August for obviously the Champions League playoffs.
Yeah, we're lucky we let at the end of August.
Aye.
So it's no right at the start of the season.
Aye. But Nathan, would you just leave him at the end of the season, Schmeichel, or would you try and get him back for the Scottish Cup, or if we make it the Scottish Cup?
I personally think this is going to be a bit of an outlandish statement. You always get one when I'm on a video. I always think that Sinisalo, when he brought in, is the future of Celtic's goalkeeper, I think, personally. And I think with Schmeichel getting older, and obviously Schmeichel's still top class goalie, I'm not saying replace him as number one or anything like that. But I would like to see Sinisalo play the rest of this season and all the cup games next season. No, like obviously no. I'm not counting Champions League, I'm not counting that. But like the Scottish Cup and things like that, Sinisalo should be the goalkeeper. He should have been at this season. When you've got a young keeper who came in, Exeter's player of the season, as you said, and was highly rated by people at Villa as well, why he hasn't played at all this season is beyond me.
I do agree with it, to be honest. I do find it a bit baffling that, I'm not saying, if it was a cup game against Rangers, I probably want Schmeichel in goal. But if you're...
No, if it's a cup game in general, I'd say he's our cup keeper.
Aye.
But then Rodgers would say, who saved the penalty in the League Cup final? It was Schmeichel.
I think Rodgers would just say you need to play your best team in a cup game, which I do agree with. But I don't think he needed to play the 2 cups. But I wish we've seen him a bit more than we have done up to now, to be honest. Because the thing when Sinisalo came in was right, a year under cash for Schmeichel, and then hopefully he'll learn and take over the reins. Obviously, Schmeichel's now signed another year on his contract. But this is more sign that Sinisalo's chance is going to be, because if he fucks up here, Celtic are looking for a new goalie next summer.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the way it could be.
Aye, exactly. Because Scott Bain, he's atrocious. So he's no
He's
good
not
enough.
Well,
efficient that
Nathan
side
would
either.
get a goal before he got paid about his
Aye.
manager, to be honest.
But no, it's Sinisalo's chance, and obviously when Schmeichel gets back, he'll get back. Also, the other news was the SPFL doing their usual shafting Scottish football fans, as I call it.
Mm.
What, a 10-team league?
Well, I'll say this. I'm old enough to remember the last time we had a 10-team league. Let's be honest. I'll be honest with you, mate. The only thing good about it was you knew your fixtures from start to end. That was it. The time you got to about 10 games to go, you were like, them again. Whereas, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people criticise the split, but I like it. Because then at least, I like it because then at least you know you're going to have good games at the back end of the season. Whereas this 10-team league isn't there for me.
If I'm being honest, and I don't know about you, but I don't like playing the same team 4 times a season. I think it's not boring, but I think that we could be doing. There's better teams there's teams in the championship that I'm not saying would come up here and be brilliant straight away, but you've got teams like Partick, you've got teams like Falkirk, Livingston. I know Livingston with Dodgy Park, but you've still got teams down there. And the thing is, as well, Nathan, the big issue I've got with the league at the moment is the odds are heavily stacked, and that promotion playoff, the odds are so stacked towards the Premiership team. It's unbelievable. It's nigh on unfair, to be honest. So it's a close shot.
There's two big issues I've got with it. One is I was writing an article on women's football, right? And the thing that changed that was when the league became professional, right? If the SPFL goes down to 10 teams, that is just so embarrassing, right? We should be adding teams to the league. If we go down to a 10 man or 10-team league, it will cripple the development of Scottish football. It will cripple it. Because see the Scottish players that are in these low divisions, because they're more Scottish than, probably the SPFL. Like, look at the development. The development would be absolutely crippled. I'm honestly, I read it yesterday and I'm like, this has got to be April Fool's, because if this actually goes through, it's ridiculous. It generally is. Like, whoever thought of this needs to be fired right away, man. It's
Neil
Aye.
really bad.
Well, Neil Doncaster, an Englishman running a Scottish game, says all you need to know. But anyway,
Yeah, I know.
but like we all thought, the idea's apparently been scrapped because it's a shit
Yeah,
idea.
Turkey's only going to vote for Christmas.
Keith Jackson put an article today about dinner time saying that the 10-team top flight is set to the Torpedoes as club push for a bigger Premiership than a
14
smaller one.
would
And
be an ideal number.
the big thing for me is I think the league does need reconstruction, but why are you taking away from the league? Now, the big thing I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, and I'm going to go off man here, but I'm sick of the governments of Scottish football. It's embarrassing from the national team to the lower leagues to junior football to the Championship to League One to the Premiership. They don't promote Scottish football. Let's not sit there and act like they promote this Scottish game. They promote two teams, Celtic and Rangers. They promote this so-called Old Firm. That's what they promote. They don't promote Scottish football. Now, I know that Celtic and Rangers probably, if are the two high and away best, probably are the two best teams in Scotland, obviously. But it doesn't mean you completely just neglect every other team in Scotland, and that's what they're doing. It was the same with the TV deals. The TV deals are a joke for Scottish football, an absolute joke. Sky have got everything they can get.
A monopoly on it, yeah.
Aye, and all the games every weekend, Celtic or Rangers. Now, as a Celtic fan, that's brilliant because I'm a Celtic, but then I can also see why other fans are getting pissed off. Now, I know the Scottish standard isn't good, but it's up to them. It's up to the people at the top to start to try and sell it. It doesn't help when you don't sell it properly. And then you get the English people down south saying the league's a pub league. But the people like your Neil Doncaster, they're just playing to these English people and saying, well, it is a pub league. Actually fucking promote it properly. And it goes through everything, not even just the SFA. You can't drink. You can't do anything in Scottish football. It's embarrassing how it's governed. You know, the fans are brilliant. Put the fans at heart. Why do you think? I was saying the German football's bigger, obviously, but the German put their fans at heart. Why can Scottish football not do that?
Well, I mean, what was it? I mean, you were talking about the other day. Scotland's got the highest average attendance
Per capita in the world, or Europe or something.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is I watched. I think it was the owner of St Johnstone, the American guy, talking about drinking at football. Teams that I get Celtic and Rangers right not being able to I can understand that because of the issues we've had in the past with fighting and all that. Right, I get that, but see that allowing alcohol would do for other teams in Scotland, like your smaller teams, that would increase their revenue so much. It's honest, I don't get why they're not doing it.
It's insane. And then I don't want to be all political again, but with the drink stuff, it is a political. It's a wealth of it. It's a wealth.
It's society standards, mate.
You know,
society standards.
And then John Swinney comes out and goes like that. Oh, we're just going off the evidence. What fucking evidence? No, seriously, what fucking evidence? There's no fucking, because you've not tried it before. You're fucking doughball. Honest to God, seriously, man.
We still get the 1980 Scottish Cup final right in front of my face.
That was fucking fifth.
I mean, let's just put it like this. Let's just put it like this, right? It's a complete wealth dividing everything, because look at rugby fans, right? They're pure, well, you know, higher. What do you call it?
No, there's a higher standard of sport. If you were to go in the wealth, you know, this is stereotypical wealth thing. Rugby is seen as a high class sport.
Rugby's got a higher social class, but my thing is, right, is you made a good point as we were walking up to Celtic Park the other day. It would actually limit the amount of trouble, because see, you're less likely to go out and get pushed before the game. You go in the stadium, you have a couple of beers and watch the football. It causes less trouble.
And it's like, and by the way, you're then stigmatizing a small minority. There probably would be trouble. I'm not going to sit and be like, there would be trouble. There'd be a certain few that would just kick them out. And the problem is, try and compromise with. And this isn't even just a Celtic issue. This is a Celtic Rangers issue. You know, the whole Scottish football issue. You need to compromise with supporters. You know, say, right, we'll have trial days and see how we get on. Even limit how many pints a person can have. So you're saying, right, each fan are allowed X amount of pints. I don't know how you would sort that. But that's the thing. I was speaking about it the other day, and I said, see if you go to a club of St Johnstone, say they get 1,000 fans, right? Maybe 2,000, 3,000 fans, and 1,500 of them are adults. Each of them, I'm not going to take out, but if you look at that, each of them get 3 pints each.
3 pints.
It probably priced about £6-7. You're talking about nearly 20-30 grand of extra income for Scottish football. Then you're not putting into consideration when Celtic and Rangers come. That's another about 8,000. I mean, we are the Scottish. The problem is, the big thing about the SFA and, you know, the government when it comes to Scottish football, they're killing the one thing that Scottish football is getting going for it, and it is its supporters. No matter how shit the standards are, still turn up week in, week out. Motherwell still turn up week in, week out. Celtic Rangers also still turn up. Aberdeen. It's embarrassing. No wonder it's been squashed.
Also, as well, is the way I look at it, is see, even if your product or the thing you're trying to sell isn't the best, right? You should still be promoting it, and you should still be talking it up, and, you know, like trying to sell it. There's no passion behind what SFA are doing. There's no like, here's our product. Look at like the Eredivisie and all that. Right? They're not they went through phases of not being that, but they got a good TV deal which completely changed the landscape of the Eredivisie. We should be getting it. Celtic Rangers are the two biggest sporting, well, or some of the two biggest sporting organisations in the world. If you go on holiday, you see a Celtic or a Rangers talk, you see Celtic and Rangers bars more than you probably see English teams. I mean, my God, we should be promoting the life of this.
And the thing is, like, after when we were also speaking about it all day, and he said, "Oh, clubs have not got any ambition," but future investors aren't given a good product to invest in because it's not promoted enough. The TV deal is an absolute shambles. BT Sport, the BT Sport broadcast deal was brilliant, and now we've got a Sky broadcast deal that's pish. And it's Scottish football. A league reconstruction is not going to fix Scottish football, but it would at least show. Now, I watched some Championship games, or maybe go to the odd Partick Thistle game. Now, sometimes the standard is utter shite. Like I went to the game a few weeks ago, and it was fucking shite. But
10 days ago, Joe.
Aye, but then it was. But at the same time, you're not getting. They've still got this. It's no. We're not talking about a bunch of 24 men just kicking lumps out. There's still a standard there. So give people the opportunity to hang with the standard. Look at Falkirk. They've ran away with the championship. Obviously they'll come up no matter what. But
they'll be a good addition to the Premier League, I think.
Aye. And the thing is, if they're going to reconstruct any league, you need to. It needs to be an increase. If they decrease it, which they won't now, because it's been squashed already. 14,
2 up, 2 down,
and you scrap this relegation playoff nonsense. Just
that's bullshit.
Straight relegation down.
Aye, or even
even
2 automatically down in a playoff.
No, scrap. Fuck the playoff. If you get yourself in that position, you shouldn't get a second chance.
Aye. Oh, that's fair,
Partick Thistle versus Ross County a couple of years ago, I felt heartbroken for Thistle not coming up. It was.
Oh, that was due to carelessness. You can't feel sorry for them when they're 3 up. That's stupidity.
But
it's their own fault. But there's such a big disadvantage for teams like Thistle and that. It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, if you even look at the financial aspect between the Championship and the Premiership, even though the Scottish Premier League skint, but there's still such a massive difference.
Aye, no, it is. It's massive.
Another thing as well, though, is why to counteract one of Alistair's point about ambition, right? And I've been quite vocal about it as well. But if I look at teams like St Johnstone, right, if we introduce drinking at stadiums, teams like St Johnstone will show ambition because of the extra revenue. They've not got a dime to spare because of things like the TV deal and all that. They don't get any money, so why would they invest?
They only get money. They only get money when Celtic Rangers in town.
Yeah, there's no incentive for these teams to invest because they'll just bankrupt themselves.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. There's no, they don't promote the game properly. They promote these Celtic and they promote Rangers. Now, as a Celtic fan, I look at it and go, now I get we're the 2 biggest money makers for the league. I get that, but it's still not an excuse not to promote a league. And no put the main bit that you've still got going for them at the forefront and come out with this. Now, I know this isn't the SFA. I'll come out with the whole government. It's that fucking baldy doughball that he is coming out and going oh well, with the evidence. What fucking evidence? But I'm not going to get too political, right? But it goes back to COVID. I always remember this. And fucking Sturgeon, she was standing up there talking pish. She always did. Anyway, and she was going on about letting sports back in after COVID. She let rugby back in and all that shit, but football was left to the dumps. And then tried to come out and say, football fans are this and she basically vilified football fans. Fuck off. It's just complete and utter nonsense. And
It's so class, mate. That's still mine.
it is. And they try to spin it as evidence. No.
So, and let's be fair. If you think about this, how many? I know what you're saying about YBG Invest. Look at the teams that qualify for Europe every year and can they get by 1, 2, 3 rounds? It's embarrassing. I mean,
I know, but why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because these teams that they're facing will have so much more money than teams like St Johnstone and things like that. Teams like
not
St Mirren.
always.
St Mirren
No,
can
No,
show
not
ambition, but they're
always.
still not going to. Not always, but St Mirren can show ambition, but they're not going to have near as much money as teams that are coming for better leagues, or
Look
well,
at
not
the
even better leagues in terms of
look at the
quality. But
Conference League, Nathan. It's so diluted. If you can't qualify for it, it's enough. Look
it's
at
diluted, but
I'll
our
give an
standards still so
example.
low.
I'll
It's-
give you a good example. Sorry, Josh. Look at the team that put Hearts out playing in front of a crowd of 500. That's nothing to do with
No,
resources.
I understand that, but it's also it's nothing to do with isolated results. This is a whole Scottish football problem, and it's not even the clubs I've got an issue with. Some of the clubs' results, including Celtic's result in Europe, are fucking embarrassing, right? But it's more of the fact of we are. If that's what we're top of the game's head and they think a decrease in teams in a league is the way to go, then fuck me. But my last word, and that's what happens when you appoint a guy from England to fucking run a game up
Read
here.
the room is
It's
all I would say on it. Read the room.
it's no good enough. It's embarrassing. They fucked the TV deal for years. Sky can just do what they want. They had the opportunity to maybe go and explore when the TV deal ran out. They could have maybe, like, I don't know, maybe speak to people in other countries, try and get the league kind of in other countries. No, they just went to Sky. No, here you go, just
Take it
fucking
on the
we'll roll out and you can just tick off stomach. That's what
Yeah.
they done. Instead of being ambitious and trying to look for a real good TV deal to put Scottish football forward. But you know what? That's just Scottish football for you.
It's like when every Halloween when kids come to your door, right? And where you going to give us? That's the SPFL's attitude to Sky. Where you going to give us?
And the thing is,
it's even that. We just accept anything that Sky gives, to be honest.
No, it is. And
there's no negotiation. There's no nothing.
Sky just throws shite at us every year and we just accept it.
Yeah.
Instead of actually because they're too scared that they'll not be able to find anybody else to put the TV deal on.
And let's be honest, Sky are only invested, as you say, Josh, in 2 teams.
So the people that run the game in this country don't give a fuck about any other team.
That's good.
They don't. But Alistair, the only good they did actually come out with something that I've been asking for years. That was obviously if you've got a playoff game, you can appeal to postpone the match day 3 game. I think it's in the middle of August, just to prepare you for a playoff. I've asked that for years to give our clubs the best chance of qualifying for European competition, but at least they come out with that. But for me, it still doesn't cover up that the fact that it's not going to happen. I get that, but it's still the fact that they've thought that that's a good idea to take Scottish football forward. It's just embarrassing, but I'm going to end it off there because we're going for fucking ages. But
I know.
But we'll be back later on in the week with build up to that game against St Johnstone at McDermott Park at the weekend. Until then, we'll speak to you later. And hail.
Hail.